Now we'll investigate the use of net present value, which of all the techniques that we're going to learn in Chapter 11, net present value stands head and shoulders above all others. So here's Project L&S. Net present value is the sum of the present value of all of a project's cash inflows and outflows. And here is the actual formula for finding net present value. So for Project L, here are its cash flows. Yet once again, we're going to be using our firm's weighted average cost of capital of 10%. We find the present value of each one of the cash flows, much like we did for discounted present value. And we then add them all together. This will include the cash outflow at year 0, hence the name net present value. We're netting out the cost of each project. Here, the net present value using this method is $18.79. We can also use Excel, because there is an Excel function for net present value, to find the actual net present value of each project. We can do the same for Project S. Project S's net present value is also in the positive range. It's $19.98. However, rather than use the formula or Excel, we'll be using our financial calculator. So for Project L, we're going to input each of the cash flows into our calculator's cash flow worksheet. We're going to enter in the 10% cost of capital, press the net present value button to get $18.79 for Project L. It's a little bit more involved than what you see on the screen. Therefore, I've worked 2 more problems that you can click on the links on the last slide to be able to see what those keystrokes are. It really isn't difficult, it just takes a little practice to find net present value using a financial calculator. And I'm sure that there are a ton of tutorials other than my own out there, probably on YouTube. So once you calculate net present value, obviously you're coming up with a value, a dollar amount. We're going to need a decision rule. So the decision rule for net present value is if a project has a net present value greater than 0, we can accept that project. If a project has a negative net present value, that is, it's less than 0, we reject. So what's the rationale behind the net present value method? Well, we're going to be taking the present value of the cash inflows associated with a project and subtracting out its costs. That will give us a net gain in wealth. In other words, that will have an impact on the firm's value, which will translate in, and that's what we're looking for. We're trying to increase the value of the firm. We're trying to maximize shareholder wealth. Now, using net present value when projects are independent, in other words, they are not competing against each other, a firm will accept all projects that have a net present value greater than 0. But when projects are mutually exclusive, that means they are competing against each other, we're going to accept the project that rises to the top, the one that has the highest positive net present value. That's going to be the one that adds the most value to the firm. So we'll accept that one, and all the others will be eliminated from consideration. In this particular example, we would accept project S if they were mutually exclusive because the net present value of S was greater than L. If they were independent projects, we would accept both of them. And here are the two examples that I spoke of earlier that will give you the keystrokes necessary to find net present value on your financial calculator.